Hello, I'm Freddy Andrej, a German bass trombone and tuba player, and I welcome you to the first interview with Bill Reichenbach of a series of interviews about my new CD, Home is Where Your Bone Is. During the corona pandemic in 2020 and 2021, I recorded a CD with my friends and colleagues Bill Reichenbach, John Fetchock and Felix Fromm. After over 1 year of work, the CD will be released on November 26 and is available for pre-order in my online shop on www.freddyandrej.com. Please see the link in the description. The interviews are sometimes on a very personal level. We discuss how this project started, how it was working together in a project like this, recording in general, and many other things. I hope you enjoyed this first interview and please stay tuned for the upcoming interviews. Have fun.
Okay.
I'm recording now.
Oh, let me move this one horn. I don't know who put that there. Okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so happy to meet you here and finally see you again. Yeah.
Yeah,
we were only in contact with the email and stuff.
This is a good way to do it.
Yeah. So I'm happy that you're here and we are finally going to the end of the project.
Yeah.
But I still remember when I met you the first time, I wrote you an email. You're also teaching, and you answered, yes, I do teach. And then I said, okay, I want to meet you and have a lesson. And you said, okay, just write me a mail 1 week before I come, and then we will definitely find a spot.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Well, it's easy that way, you know.
Yeah. That was in March 2019.
Oh,
Yeah. So about.
That seems like years ago now.
Yeah. So yeah, you've always been idol for me, and I was so happy that you had time for a lesson. And I still remember what you said and still working on it. And
great. Yeah.
Yeah. You also gave me a CD.
Oh yeah.
More carols from the bells.
Yeah.
And you invited me to the December 2019 Christmas concerts, and I said, okay, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And as we both know, I was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the last one so far. I don't know. I don't know that we're going to do it this year again either. You know, like because of the pandemic thing. You know,
I would be happy to come again this year, but let's see how this thing is going.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think traveling might be even harder now in this pandemic.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Oh, sure.
So maybe you can do it over there, but I can't come.
Sitting on a plane that long. Well, you know, I haven't heard from the church. Just they haven't even, you know. So I don't know what's happening there. So anyway, there's a lot of things that have to happen before then. You know.
Yeah. So you also wrote me some nice words in it.
I can't read it from here, but
it says, to Fred, you will be great, all the best, Bill. And that's motivating me since then. That's really nice. That was also the reason why I always try to keep contact, write mail. How is the situation over there, especially in the pandemic? And then you told me you were recording at home for the studios in Hollywood, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually doing some of that tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a show called Green Eggs and Ham on Netflix.
Cool. Yeah.
And we've been doing that throughout the whole pandemic. We've been doing it at home.
Yeah.
You know, that seems to be the only remaining one, because they've started working in the studios again. And actually I'm gonna go into the studio this week and next week.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start taking the calls again.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm happy that you can work again. But that was also a starting point of my idea for the project. Because
recording at home.
Yeah, recording at home. When you said, okay, you are recording for the studios, for movies, series, films at home, I thought, why can't we do a CD at home from different places all over the world? Yeah. That's actually how the idea started.
It just gets complicated if you want to have video of us playing the tracks, then it gets tough.
Yeah. Maybe we won't do that.
I have done that, but
really?
Yeah, but so you have to record your part onto a video.
Yeah.
To the you know, you have to if you want to get your performance perfect, you have to pre-record it, and then you have to fake to it. And if you're playing an ad lib solo, then it's really hard, because you have to memorize the solo so that you can. Yeah. And I had to do that for a project that was out from London. They did a big trombone choir thing between London and LA. And a whole bunch of us had little solo things to play. And then I had to record all of that to get it, and then record the video in here. And it just was difficult.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
So I'm not anxious to do that again, really, but yeah.
I think that sounds like a heavy thing to do, hard thing to do, those videos. So when the idea started for our CD, going a little bit back in the pandemic, so everything was turned down here. We had no work. We are just sitting at home. I had to move to my parents because I didn't have any money left.
Yeah.
And but then I composed the tune "Home Is Where Your Bone Is," and that shows my love to the trombone, and also shows that no matter where I am, when I'm with my trombone, I feel like home. Yeah. That's what the tune is about. And by the way, John Fetchcock wrote a fantastic arrangement of this tune.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
as a feature for us on the bass trombone.
Yeah,
but we can talk about that later. So I told you about the project, and I think I had a glass of wine or two, and I wrote you an email about the project, and then you answered, and I still have to laugh when I remember what you wrote. Do you still remember what you wrote?
No, I don't. No.
You said sounds like a big project.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was coming on me. Yeah, just said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But no, it's over. That was over 1 year ago. That was in July last year, 2020. Yeah. So now it's September 2021. Yeah.
Well, when you consider the logistics, it's not so bad to take that amount of time, you know. I mean, it's easy to go into a studio and record everybody at once. You can do that in a couple weeks at the most, you know. But when you're doing it one person at a time, and you're coming up with new charts and having charts written and all that kind of stuff. It adds months to it where nothing's happening, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened in this case. You know, there was just a lot of space. You know, if you jammed all of the recording together, it probably took about a week.
Yeah.
You know.
But I didn't sleep in those off time. I worked on my editing skills with what was
Pro Tools?
Logic Pro.
Oh, Logic Pro, yeah.
Yeah. I worked with Logic Pro, but I bought Pro Tools that I can send you the files properly, that you can work with them, because there was some technical issues happening.
Yeah, there was some strange. I've never used Logic, and I've used Digital Performer and Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm.
And Logic is the third one that I've never gotten Logic files, except for you. I've never gotten Logic files for a project that I had to do, you know. So, but some of the I noticed that like for these David Newman projects, they send it out in Logic and in Pro Tools. So somebody else must be using Logic too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their. I think their native program there at that studio is Pro Tools, but it might not be. I don't know.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the idea of the project, and what was your motivation to take part in it?
Well, it seemed like an interesting thing to do, you know. The instrumentation. I'm always interested to see what somebody can get out of that instrumentation. You know, what comes out, what happens. You know, with different arrangers and stuff, and so I thought it, you know, I thought it came out good, interesting, way different styles of arranging, you know. And so yeah, it should be good. I mean, I'm sure that it'll be well received for the market that it's made for, you know. I mean, it's not like
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, it's not like a Michael Jackson record or something like that, but I mean, for like the brass, like the trombone community, it should be well received, I would think, you know.
Yeah, that's what it made us for. Yeah. And when we recorded the first tune, "Get Me to the Church on Time," arranged by Joachim Keller, I was really impressed by your feedback and what you said about how to prepare the files, how to work in those kind of projects. You had so much experience in that. Maybe also before the pandemic started, you were working in the studios and recording all your life. And I think that brought the whole project to another level.
It's kind of like learning the hard way.
It is,
You do everything wrong for years, and then you finally figure out how to do it right.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. There were so many little tricks in the editing software that I didn't know, and it's just 2 mouse clicks and makes the whole thing easier.
Yeah.
And I had workarounds for months till I got to the point where I found out how to do it easy.
Yeah.
And that took months.
It's amazing when you see one of these guys that's like a real Pro Tools guy, the guy, you know, like somebody that runs Pro Tools in the studio, that just does it all day.
Yeah.
And they can do stuff like, they can just do it like bang. They know exactly how to do everything that you want because they've done it a million times. Whereas when you're sitting here looking at that huge screen with all those options, trying to figure out how to make something happen, and you don't know how to make it happen, and you even look at the instructions and it doesn't tell you, you know,
Yeah.
those instructions are awful usually.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so I know that in the projects that I did throughout the pandemic here at home, I was calling a couple of friends of mine quite often, especially at the beginning, because I couldn't, I'm looking at stuff and I just can't figure out how to get from one place to another. You know, it just doesn't go there automatically. You know, you can punch, you can press buttons and you can click on things and nothing happens the way you think it's going to happen. And so, yeah, it's, I mean, so it's just kind of learning the software. It's like learning a word program or any of those other big you know, like a bookkeeping program. That's just learning how to get things in the right place, you know.
Yeah.
And most of the time that's good enough, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And I noticed for myself that at the end, everything was faster in my place.
Yeah.
People sent me the tracks, and
Yeah.
I could edit them in zack, 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 one after another, and didn't take much time because I encountered so many problems before that I know what the solution is and how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about a little bit about arrangements before, and you said that that you liked the variety of arrangers for the project. You are also an arranger for the project. You arranged Mercy Mercy by Joe Zawinul. And
today is Cannonball Adderley's birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think your arrangement turned out great. I love it. It's grooving.
I know that it's simple.
What?
It's my arrangement is kind of simple. It's a simple arrangement, you know, but you know, it doesn't need to be fancy, I don't think. Yeah.
But it gives the tune a new spirit, and it's grooving, and it's something different. You know, you listen to Mercy Mercy and it's a great tune. I always love to play it, but when you played it for years, then could imagine something new, but still keeping the original. And I think you did a great job there. Yeah.
I listened to the original before I wrote the arrangement because I wanted to remember how they played it. And when I was a little kid, my father took me to a concert that was the Maynard Ferguson band, and the warm up and the first band before them was Cannonball Adderley. And I was so young, I didn't really know who Cannonball Adderley was, but I know they played that tune. And then, so it was, you know, and then of course, that's one of the jazz tunes that a lot of young jazz players learn, you know, because it almost has like a funky groove to it too. So you can play it for younger audiences. It doesn't have necessarily a swing feel. And so that makes it kind of useful in that context too, you know. And so that was always, you know, that was always kind of a fun tune. I know that I'll bet you that when they recorded that tune way back when, they felt like I bet they questioned what they were doing. They might have thought they were being brave by recording that, because back then jazz musicians didn't play a lot of that straight eighth note kind of music unless it was Latin, you know. And so anything that they would do like that, or Watermelon Man, or those are kind of the early, and I wonder whether or not they were going like, wow, is this going to be okay? Are people going to think this is a jazz tune or what? I wonder whether they thought that. But yeah, but it's cool, and it's kind of fun to blow on because it's got those sections that are kind of bluesy, and depending on the tempo you play it. And yeah, well, good. I'm glad it worked out. I can't say that I'm ever very confident about writing arrangements for somebody else, like whether they're going to like it because I might like it is always a guess on my part. I'm always hoping, like.
Yeah. I also showed it to my parents, and they liked really much. Our mixing engineer also likes it.
Oh, good. Well, that's
Felix likes it. John likes it. I think everyone likes it by
good.
now.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you played a great tuba solo on there. Yeah, really rocking. Yeah.
Well, it seemed like something different, like to try a tuba solo that I didn't think there would be anything else with a tuba solo. But at least at that point, I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you sent me a demo recording where you played all parts.
All the parts, yeah.
All the parts, and then I heard the tuba solo, and I thought, okay, no one else should ever play this tuba solo. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I mean, when you're sitting at home and you're putting on one part at a time, you can make it. Eventually, you can get it like you want it.
So another thing about the arrangements. So we were 4 players playing 5-part arrangements. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, in a way, especially in a situation like this, the fewer players you have, the more likely the ensemble is going to be a little bit tighter because you'll have fewer differences of interpretation. Of course, when it comes to playing it live, you have to have 5 players.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the live performance, unless you get a chance to rehearse a lot, the live performance might never be as tight as the recorded performance. I mean, that happens a lot, with if a recording situation, if you're able to record carefully enough and everybody is able to get their parts down and you get it together with each other, most likely live performances, it'll be hard for them to get there, either because the balance may not be as good as on the recording, because the balance on the recording is carefully mixed, and a live performance, it's a little hard to balance like that. And depending on who you get for a live performance, you just can't count on everybody phrasing the same way, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were going to go on the road for a couple months and play together like a real road band, then it would certainly be together,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things about playing in the studios where you have to kind of make it sound like you've been playing together for a long time, even if you just got the music and you read through it once before.
Yeah.
Which is sort of sometimes it's like a magic trick more than anything else,
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about adding another person, but I was so happy how the first arrangement turned out that I said, okay, let's keep it like that. And I think every one of us at least played in one tune 2 parts. So I was often playing the tuba and the third trombone. You've been playing in Mercy Mercy the lead trombone and the tuba.
Yeah.
John was playing, I think, first and third trombone in another tune,
Yeah.
and Felix also. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, but that can help hang it together a little bit, you know, the same concept more than one
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And it hooks, you know,
Yeah.
and then it makes the other people go with that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, if they have the option of hearing that, you know, if it's recorded that way.
Yeah. What also was nice is I could listen to all your tracks solo, and
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to think about that, but
but I learned a lot. That was a big inspiration, and especially you told me when I was there in 2019 about articulation, and I still remember what you said, but when I listened to your part solo, I could really go into detail and try it out for myself how to do that better. Yeah. So that helped me in my progress of trombone and tuba playing. Yeah.
it's always easier to play it than to talk about playing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's harder to describe stuff than it is to just say, well, here,
Yeah.
I think it should go like this and play it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, okay, he's playing it like this. And then I try out different ways, and then I come to the solution. Okay, that's how he must have done that. Yeah. A lot of trombone stuff going in my head.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I was also working on slide technique, tongue, but maybe that's for a different time. Or do you want to talk about it?
Oh, it's up to you.
I think we should focus on the CD.
Okay.
You also said, you already said that you liked the variety of ranges, and now we recorded all the tunes, and we already can hear something like final mix. Final mix will be made next week, and I think it sounds amazing for this kind of project, that everything's falling in place.
Yeah.
It sounds very good, and I hope you see it like it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
Sure. I
But
mean, you know, I know that the playing is good, and if you have a good engineer mixing and somebody that understands how to spread things out and put things in a place on, you know, so that you can hear everything clearly,
yeah,
it shouldn't be any more complicated than that, you know.
yeah, yeah. In the first two mixing sessions, I wasn't there with the engineer, but then I got there. I think that was about 6 weeks ago. That's when I sent you all the files and asked for feedback, and then I think we worked pretty good on how the ensemble sounds, and also how the instrument sounds, because everyone has a different microphone. Yes,
Right.
it's recording in a different room.
Right.
Different microphone positioning in every tune.
That's the hard part.
Philip, the engineer, also said that was really hard, because he has to mix every tune as a new tune.
Right.
And we also changed positions. So you were playing lead in one tune, then John or Felix was playing lead, and all the parts switched around in every tune. Sometimes I was playing tuba, sometimes you were playing tuba. And so there was nothing to rely on.
Well, you know, listening to each tune separately is probably the smartest thing to do anyway.
Yeah.
You know. nothing is going to fit. One tune is not going to fit into the mix of another tune.
Yeah.
And when you're doing all that stuff separately, that even makes it more so. I mean, if we were recording in the same room, like a normal recording session, even if we were switching parts around, you could maybe kind of do that. You could maybe sort of set up a basic mix, and a lot of the stuff would work, and then all you'd have to do is tweak things, you know, like little, just to bring out a little something here and there, you know. But the fact that it's all separate and there's no actual room sound of the group, that makes it tricky, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we've done a couple of film scores, orchestral film scores that way, which the mixing must have been a nightmare, really, you know. But they did them, and the movies came out, and they finished them, and they sounded fine, you know. I saw one of them was a Netflix movie or something, and I saw that, and it sounded great, you know. So it's a good engineer knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they know how to make it sound like it's in a room.
That's also why I went to or I chose Philip. He's one of the best in Germany, and he's also doing a lot for TV or movies, for German TV and movies. And SWR big band is recording there, and I think he's mixing them also and recording them. And I also worked with him a couple of years ago, and I really liked how that was a big band recording. I really liked how natural the band sounded. It's not nothing fancy, but the original natural sound, and that's also what I wanted to keep, or to sound like. I wanted to sound it natural.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
When you think about the fact that the original big band records that we all grew up listening to were recorded on one microphone, probably. A lot of the real early ones, you know, they set up one mic, and they arranged the way everybody sat in the room depending on what they had to do. And they recorded the whole tune from beginning to the end. And, you know, for the 78 records.
Yeah.
And then they had to do it multiple times because they could only make so many copies of the record off of one master. So they would wear the master. So that means that's why you can find several different versions of lots of Duke Ellington big band charts and stuff like that, because in order to, if it was a good selling record, they had to record multiple masters.
Yeah.
And so they're a little different. They might be slightly different. The solos might be a little different phrasing, you know, and stuff. It's weird when you think about what that must have been like, you know. But, I mean, the discipline of going into the recording and playing the tune from the beginning to the end perfectly I mean, I've done that when we used to do what they call direct to disc recordings. Have you ever done that?
No.
They were doing that for a while, and it was when they still had LPs. Of course, direct to disc, when you're making a 78, is one tune. But when you're making a direct to disc LP, you're maybe doing 5 tunes in a row with the space in between the tunes without stopping. And that's really, really hard. We did it with Toshiko's band, and I did a Charlie Bird recording like that. And it was, but it was hard. You had to be, you know, you're sitting in the room for all that time, no break, and you have to be quiet so that they make the space in between the tunes silent, you know, and it's pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can't imagine that.
Well,
No.
I mean, it's it's almost impractical, but people were doing that. I did it a few times, and it was so hard.
Yeah, but the good thing is if you have done it right, your job is over fast.
Well, you end up, it wouldn't make it faster because you'd end up making a whole lot of, you might make a bunch of takes.
Okay, yeah.
So that they would have, but they'd have to, the take meant 3 or 4 or 5 tunes in a row. That's one take.
Yeah.
So you might have to do that 4 times,
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, the Toshiko project was very difficult.
Do you know,
real
remember
hard.
the name?
Huh?
Do you remember the name of the project?
Let's see. Well, we did 2. We recorded them in Japan, and one of them was it featured Lou Tabakin, the trombone section, and the rhythm section, and the rest of the band had already gone home. So it might have been something. And she wrote this tune called "March of the Tadpoles" that featured the trombones. That's on one of the records. It's like based on All the Things You Are.
Yeah.
We recorded it a couple times. I had a solo on it, and it's on the live at the Newport Jazz Festival album, and I played lead on that album because the lead player had just quit. But that's one. But then I think it might have been Lou Meets the Tadpoles. That might have been the name of that record. I'm not sure. I don't know that those records ever came out in this country, but Randy Allcroft and I did the arrangements. Like the one that we did with the trombones was all Duke Ellington tunes. But we did 2 albums in a row. We did a big band album with the whole band in this room. It was a theater outside of Tokyo. And then the saxes and the trumpets left and flew back home. And then we stayed and did the other one with the trombones.
Yeah.
By that time, we were pretty worn down because the big band record had been very frustrating. I mean, we spent a couple of days without getting any takes. We just they didn't feel like they were getting a good balance, with the mics and everything, and I had bought on that trip, I had bought a Sony, I think it was a TC-D5 cassette recorder that they made. It was a kind of a real good cassette recorder that they made back whenever that was, in the late 70s or early 80s. And I bought a mic with it. And I set it up in the room and just made a cassette of the band while we were recording. And I played it for Lou, and he thought my cassette sounded better than the recordings they were getting with the professional, just because I set the mic up, one mic, it was a stereo mic. I set it up. He said, "How did you know where to put the mic?" I said, "Well, I figured if I put it near the middle of the band, it would be sort of okay, And so that was the problem. They couldn't get a good balance.
Yeah.
And we spent days trying to get a good balance. We barely got it done.
So, since a couple of weeks, there are a lot of gigs. I'm playing every week. 2 or 3 times. That's really nice. But before, nothing happened. I was sitting at home. I was in the basement for 1.5 years with nearly no daylight. And I was just practicing trombone the whole day.
Well, that's better than I was doing. I wasn't practicing trombone the whole day. I was watching a lot of movies and stuff like that and reading. And I was practicing, and it's still good. I'm still trying to stay consistent with that.
Yeah.
And it, that's kind of a good place to put your mind during a situation like this. The people that don't have that, I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
You know, they don't, I mean, if you just had a regular job and you couldn't go to work, you really would be sitting at home all day watching television with nothing else to do, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're lucky in that respect that we had something that we could feel like we're building.
Yeah.
And then you did this project, which is that's a quite an accomplishment, you know, to do that. And it's just deciding you're going to do it is the hard part, and then starting it. Once you start it, it's like a train, you know.
Yeah.
You have to stay on it.
Yeah. So there were so many days I was working. Actually, I was working 12 to 16 hours nearly every day
Wow.
with
Yeah.
no break, 7 days a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I sent you the parts and then I got it back, and then I said, then I went directly to my computer for the editing, and I stopped when I was finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know how that is. You know.
Yeah. Or sometimes I sent something, and here it's 7:45 p.m. and it's 10:45 a.m. over there at your place.
Yeah.
And when you say, okay, I'm going to start now recording this, and then you see, oh, there's a problem. Something is not right, or there's something missing, or whatever. Then you wrote me an email, and normally I answered at the same in the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
And was on the computer for till midnight some days. But not only with you, also with John.
Yeah.
That was the same thing. The time we are 9 hours away. With John, I'm 6 hours away.
Right.
And when I'm done with my day, okay, I want to do this and this and practice and make progress. And then I said, okay, now I'm going to have a coffee and sit outside or go for a walk or biking. Emails are coming from America.
It doesn't work out that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's another couple of hours adding today. But I'm happy that it turned out good, and it was worth it working like that. And the last weeks, now the recordings are finished, and now I can calm down a little bit. Yeah.
So in a few minutes, I have to stop doing it because I have to go take a COVID test. I have to drive all the way down to Sony to take a COVID test for a job, and I have to be there at 12. So
then I think we come then to an end of the interview.
Okay.
And I'm very happy to have talked with you. Bass trombone legend Bill Reichenbach. I'm also so happy that we did a project together.
Yeah, I'm glad it got done. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for me or for my future?
Well, I think the most important advice is for you to keep your eyes on what you feel good about doing, and do stuff that you feel good about. Don't let yourself be dragged into a business situation that becomes unpleasant. You know, like I've seen a lot of people, a lot of musicians get way far away from music because they ended up getting into the business and they forgot about the music. So I think you're going in the right direction. Keep track of the fact that you're a musician and you like to play.
Yeah.
And that's important. I mean, we all started playing as a hobby,
Mhm.
and then it
Yeah.
might have become a profession. And then if you wait, I was at a party last week I saw an old friend of mine that retired about 4 years ago. And he says, yeah, I'm still playing. He plays drums. He says, I'm still playing with some old guys like me a couple times a week. And I said, well, so it's back to being a hobby again. It starts as a hobby and it ends as a hobby.
Hmm.
And if you can keep your interest in it that way, it's pretty healthy, for your head. It's good way to think about things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always happy when I get up and I don't have to do any emails, just go to my trombone and play and practice. That's the best days for me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And if you can make enough money to just survive that and feel happy doing that, you're way ahead of most people. Well, good.
Yeah. Cool. So one last thing, please say something nice to the world of trombone players.
To the world of trombone players. Well, if I was to think of the world of trombone players as a big club, it's a very good club to be a member of. I've always liked hanging out with trombone players. It's always fun. And I would not have had it any other way.
Yeah, thank you. Great, Bill.
All right.
So I hope we see each other again. I wish you all the best. And I didn't forget the release concerts. Still somewhere in my head, figuring out some things, but that comes next. Yeah. First we want to release the CD, and then cool, Bill.
All right.
Then thank you again.
All right.
Have a good day. And
you too.
Bye-bye. We'll keep in
All right,
contact.
take care. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.